Hi everyone and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. Today we're taking a look at this brand new 2021 Yamaha Kodiak 700. But for once, we have a comparable model from the past. This is our personal 2016 Yamaha Kodiak 700. Now the truth is, in 5 years, not a lot has changed, and that is a good thing. There is one major upgrade here though, and it actually might not be a good thing, and we need to talk about it. So in this video, we'll go out and hit the trails, we'll ride them both, see how they compare, and then we're gonna do a drag race to see how the powertrains here stack up. Let's start by talking about that major difference that I mentioned, and it is the engine. So back in 2016, this is actually the very first year that Yamaha introduced a 708cc dual overhead cam single cylinder engine. Now that debuted in 2016, and previous to that, this thing used a 686cc engine. Now here's what's interesting. 2019 comes around and Yamaha announces, hey, we have a new 700, but it's actually the old 686, and that is what is in this new Kodiak. So for 2 years, they switched over to a different engine, and of course, when they brought back this 686, they said that it was retuned and it had more power. Any company is going to play it up as sort of a good decision. The truth of it is, it was an industry thing. There was deals that fell apart, and Yamaha didn't have access to this engine anymore, so they put this 686 back in here. And meanwhile, all through those years, the Yamaha Wolverine, it never stopped using this 686. So this engine has been around for a while. It is absolutely bulletproof, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a better engine than this 708. And it's going to be really interesting to hit the trail today and feel the differences in the real world. There's one other change you notice immediately when you sit on these two, and that is the entire head unit. So over here you can see the 2016. It is still a digital screen. It's a little smaller, not quite as crystal clear as this new one you see over here on the 2021. They made all the numbers a little bit bigger, and like I said, there's something about this screen that's just a little nicer to look at than the old one. But they still just have 3 buttons, so they're still pretty much the same setup. This one just looks a little bit better. Now, besides that, I said this, everything else is the same. So I'll go over the numbers now, and these apply to both machines. So if we're talking about size, overall length here is 6.79 feet, width is 46.5 inches, height 48.8 inches, and the wheelbase is 49.2 inches. Ground clearance still comes in at 10.8 inches. And towing capacity, well, that is 600 kilograms, which is a little over 1,300 pounds. And both of these machines have a 2-inch hitch receiver in the rear end, which is always appreciated. So yeah, dimensionally, nothing here has changed in 5 years. It's really just the engine and the head unit you're looking at. Underneath the Kodiak, basically nothing has changed. We have independent wishbone suspension all the way around. You're getting 7.1 inches of travel here in the front, 9.1 in the rear, and a set of Maxxis 25-inch tires, and even the tires haven't changed in 6 years. So let me hop on the Kodiak and tell you a little bit more about what's right here in front of me. And the first thing I'll say is when you get on this machine, it doesn't have that kind of aggressive riding style or position like the Grizzly does. If you want a really hardcore ATV, go get a Yamaha Grizzly. If you want something more relaxed for working around your yard, get the Kodiak. The handlebars are much lower and you don't have, again, that high ground clearance, so it's really easy to get on here. Once you're on, if you're looking at 21 compared to 16, besides this screen in front of me, nothing has changed. On my left hand, I got my start stop, I got my winch control, and on your right hand, you have your 4-wheel drive control. Right in front of you, you have this really excellent storage bin. I've always appreciated having this. It's so easy to get to. It is nice and it locks up nice and tight with that rubber grommet right there. So this is a great storage. Now I mentioned the 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive switch here on my right. This is one of the things we've actually had a couple problems with on our older Kodiak. And now let me turn it over to Dad to talk you through the reliability that we have seen with that ATV.
So of course we're doing this comparison today between this 2016 and this 2021. And let me tell you about the good and let me tell you about the bad. We've got a hilly property here and there's a lot of little trails, a lot of trees in and out. And so this unit has been great as far as just maintenance around the property. It gets up, it gets down, and my wife uses it actually quite a bit. So she appreciates that power steering and she can get in and out, take our little trailer along, little dump trailer, pick up the leaves, pick up the branches, all the other kind of nonsense we do. We can also get it right down to the beach so we can rake up whatever ends up on the sand. Now, performance-wise, it's been bulletproof. We don't have a lot of kilometers on it because it usually never leaves the property. However, it does sometimes sit, particularly at the end of the season, for weeks, even sometimes 2-3 months. Never had a battery issue. Still the original battery in the unit. Always starts. Doesn't matter if it's 20 below or 30 above. So that part of it is great. The bad thing is the switches. These servo switches, and it's not the servos that are the problem, it's actually the springs. There's springs in here, which of course touch the contacts into place or don't, as the case may be. And apparently, I've read this online, they become tired. And when that happens, the contacts aren't happening, so that means 2-wheel drive is not dropping into 4-wheel drive. There's also a lock feature on this machine, so you can lock all 4 wheels. Again, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Same thing with, for instance, there's a switch on the foot brake, which if you depress it all the way, should let you start the machine in gear. That worked for a while, doesn't work anymore. Again, these switches have become tired. Now, I believe there are some recalls. I just live with it. I haven't bothered to go back out to the dealer. But if you've got one of these things, have a look online, because I do believe that some of this stuff is covered under warranty, even if the machine is out of date. So, all in all, this thing has been very, very good for us. And generally, it's a work machine, and we ride it for fun every once in a while. And the fact, when I look at the 21 and it hasn't changed, I say, so what? It's a good design, it works, why bother? There you go.
And now we're hitting the left hook here on this 2021 Kodiak 700. I'll let you know how it feels. Initial impressions on the power here, not quite as much low end as the older Kodiak. This is actually typical for us too. When you see our truck reviews, it's always Dad on that Kodiak. That's our camera machine as well. And today I'll show it off to you. It's a great camera rig.
We're going halfway up the hill.
Yeah, or even out there in the mud, yeah, and I can ride by you. And when we shoot in conditions like this, you need something that's gonna make it through reliably. And that Kodiak has honestly been awesome. We've only ever gotten it stuck on one shoot. Well, I shouldn't say that. One time in the mud and one time in the snow, but the snow hardly counts. You can get anything stuck in the snow. So let's feel the power. Like I said, the low end, not quite as impressive as the old one, but it's still got lots of power. For machine swap. Dad, I was also telling YouTube what a good camera machine this is. This Kodiak's honestly been awesome for shooting all our truck videos, wouldn't you say? Yep. We couldn't get up there in the mud and do what we do without this thing.
Well, yeah, plus I can shoot sitting on the seat. I don't always have to get into the mud, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the best. Okay, you go and I'll be right behind you. We'll see how this old machine feels. Okay, everybody, let's see if we can feel the differences here. Here we go. Oh, wow, okay. So two differences immediately. More low-end torque. I just have more power when I initially hit the throttle, and heavier power steering. There's no doubt that the power steering here in 2016 had a lot more weight to it. The new 2021 is a lot lighter. So obviously Yamaha decided that they wanted to take some weight out of this. Now, I've always liked Yamaha power steering because it kind of skews towards the heavy end of things. Some other brands go lighter, but Yamaha's always been heavy, and I still think that's true. Even on that 2021, the steering is heavier than I felt on some other ATVs recently from Can-Am and Polaris. So I will still say, Yamaha power steering, a little bit on the heavy side, but from 2016 to 2021, they have definitely made it lighter. Now I'm about to go through the mud pit, and guys, the power difference here is not huge. And I really think it actually comes down to the clutch difference and how the clutching has been done, the clutch weighting. And this 700 just wants to give you more right out of the gate. I feel like the mid-range and the top end isn't there as much as that 686, but we'll figure that out in a little bit. For now, let's run the mud, see how it feels. Oh, I like that power, man. I really like that power. Well, not that that's a massive challenge for these ATVs, but riding through that pit, I gotta tell you, I like the way the 16, the powertrain handles a little bit more. It just feels like a more direct connection between my right hand, my thumb, and what the powertrain is doing, because it reacts so quickly. So that is kind of nice. And then when it comes to the power steering, it depends how you like it. Me personally, I like it heavy. So on this machine, yeah, I find myself enjoying it. I will say though, after a long day of riding, you might end up preferring the lighter steering of the new machine. But yeah, I like the heavy weighting. And here we go. You know what I'm going to do, folks? Put it down into low so I can really feel the torque. Oh yeah. There we go. Yeah, baby. This 2016 comes across as having more power, and I think it does have a little bit more because it's got more displacement as well. But where I really think we're going to see this difference is out on the road doing a true drag race. So let's go out there and see what happens when we go head to head. All right, folks, it's drag race time. I'm on the old Kodiak, Dad's on the new Kodiak, and let's see what happens. You ready, Dad? On go. 3, 2, 1, go! Well, folks, I think that was exactly what I expected. The 2016 was faster off the line, but that 21 in the mid and high range, you would have got me.
I whooped you.
I don't know.
You jumped.
I didn't jump.
You jumped, but I chased you down.
All right, folks, now I want to do a top speed run. So on the 2016, I managed to top out at 101 kilometers per hour. And 100 kilometers per hour is 62 miles per hour. And this unit's in miles per hour. So let's see if I can get up to 60 right now. I just kissed 62 miles per hour. That's 100 kilometers per hour. So the power delivery here is a little bit different engine to engine, but the top speed basically hasn't changed. Well, folks, we are coming to the end of this one, but we've got a few quick things to go over. So first of all, I need to tell you, this 2021, as it sits here today, costs $12,500. And we'll get back to that price, but I just need to say, this is a great ATV. And honestly, not a lot has changed since 2016 because it didn't need to. Everything that worked here still works right over here. But I think that the main point I need to make to you is that, look, Yamaha reliability is so good. We've had such a good experience with this 2016. If you do want to save a few bucks and get a unit that's 3, 4, 5 years old, you can still feel really good that you're getting a solid ATV and you're going to save some money. And in this case, you're actually getting a powertrain that personally I like a little bit better. Well, folks, I think that's the end of this one. Now, of course, I need to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think of the Kodiak 700, of the different engines here, and of this whole comparison in general. Also, tell me what you'd like to see out of future ATV testing. And then, as always, go below, leave that comment, hit like, hit subscribe, hit the join button to become a member of the channel, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.